Yo, hey, listen, good evening. This is so scary. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. This is as worse as this is giving me first sermon vibes. Okay? Listen, first of all, welcome to the Daryl Show. Listen, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I worked hard to get to this point. Listen, I have prayed for this moment. I have prayed for this season. I have prayed for you guys. And I really want you guys to really enjoy me. And I'm about to give y'all all of my business. So all I want to know is where do I start? I want to tell people who I am, where I come from, and all of these things. Okay. So my name is Daryl Williams. I am from Columbus, Georgia, by way of heaven. I am a father of five. They range from 8 to 28. Yes, I'm Scooter's daddy. Y'all know already. Most people who know me know this. And I just want to say I have taken the long road to get to where I am now. I have not always made the right decisions. I have not always done what I needed to do. Yet God still chose me. I hope you guys like my background. If you don't, you're a hater. Uh, and everybody's still musty. I'm gonna tell you now, one of my two favorite words is the word musty, and the other word starts with an N, but I ain't gonna say it right now because I'm trying to get monetized. Anyway, how y'all doing this evening? I really appreciate y'all coming here and spending this time with me. I have an hour and 15 minutes set aside for me to do this show. I got my timer set, and I'm ready to do what I got to do. So let's talk about me for a second. I was born and raised, like I said, in Columbus, Georgia, and I am the oldest of two children with my mom. I guess you can consider me the middle with my dad, and I'm the most handsome out of my family. The most articulate out of my family. No, I'm just kidding. I come from a big family on my dad's side. There were 10 children. I don't know how many grandchildren, I don't know how many great grandchildren, but we all love each other. Most of us share names. My name is Daryl Lamont. I got a cousin named DeMeridio Lamont. Guys, almighty, I'm just fumbling all over my words. But anyway, my grandparents were always my idols. I've always looked up to them. They had a relationship. They were married for 54 years. And while they were still here, they're going to be with Jesus at this point. Somebody asked me, am I live on Facebook? I better be live on Facebook. Let me see here. Let me check my stream real quick, because I'm getting messages asking, am I live on Facebook? And I should be live on Facebook. Am I live on Facebook? Y'all send me a message to let me know, or put a comment up, let me know, because I'm not really sure. I know that I'm live on YouTube, but I want to make sure that I'm live on all the other platforms. I should be, but I ain't got time for that right now. I'll deal with it later. I'll upload it to Facebook if I can't find it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm live on all the platforms. I know ain't nobody distracting me like this. But anyway, as I was saying, my grandparents had a very strong, long relationship. Now, I've heard things about my grandfather. I've heard things about my grandmother, but like I always tell people, I never knew that person. I only knew the person that I saw. And that man was a great man to me. He produced my dad, which in turn produced me. My dad and my mom met, and they fell for one another. And here I am, popped out with my big old 6'3", 278 pound self. Yes, I lost some weight. I used to be 290. Praise God, I've been working on it. And it was very easy for me to do that. I left my glasses downstairs, so if you see me squinting or whatever the case may be, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read comments and different things like that. I really appreciate this opportunity. I really appreciate this season. And let me tell you what this show is going to be about. This show is going to be about a variety of things. There are going to be people or things that we talk about here that are going to um, like is gonna mess with people. I came here to tell the truth above anything. I just gave myself a pep talk talk downstairs, and I always want to honor God. I always want to honor His people. I want to honor myself. I want to honor my children. I want to also honor my future wife when I decide to get married. Yes, I'm single. Um, and like I said, y'all, I'm putting my business out there, so y'all please take it easy on me. But this relationship will cover a variety of things. Yes, if you are sensitive, this might not be the place for you because I like to talk trash and I like to call people musty all the time. It's not it's not that I hate people. It's just I was raised in an environment on my mom's side where it's gladiator school. My grandma, Elder B. Thomas, she was man. She was you had to be somebody. You had to be tough to deal with Ethel B because she she made it where she where you had to talk trash back or either you either sink or swim. And so I became tough. You got to know my heart. I don't mean anything by it. I want people to know and to hear that I talk trash because I love you. If I don't talk trash to you, I don't really fool with you like that. You don't belong in my circle. You just somebody that I deal with. My best friends will tell you. You get a nickname from me. You get something. It's always gonna be something with me. You're gonna get just whatever. It's just whatever. But man, I'm rambling right now. I'm nervous, y'all. Y'all need to understand this. Y'all really don't understand. Like I really just got this thing together. Like this whole setup that y'all can't see right now. I just got this whole thing together within the last hour and a half. I have been working on this thing forever. I've been trying to get messages. Been trying to do all I need to do so that y'all can see me, and all I gotta do is push a button and go live. But it's been rough though. I'm not even gonna front. Anyway, I want you to know that this show, although I'm not, tearing people down or anything like that, it is unfiltered. It's raw. This show will be interactive. I call it a podcast because I do want it to go up in podcast form at some point. However, this is interactive. People will get to call in. I will have guests. My guest for next week, unfortunately, she has to reschedule. So I have a contingency plan, and I hope you guys like it. Um, if not, we'll just sit there. You guys sit here and talk to me and look at my handsome self. I really I don't have a focus. I don't have something that I specialize in. I'm 46 years old and I've gone through a lot of stuff. So I like to talk about my journey. I like to talk about who it is that I am and what I've had to go through and encounter to get to this point. I have excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have gone through some things. I have been married before, been divorced before, I've been married before, I've been divorced before. Um, I've had an oops baby. I got saved in 2007. I'm gonna tell y'all that story in a minute. I man, it's a lot of stuff that I could say. So um I would like comments, I would like suggestions. I would like to hear what you guys like to talk about. I have been doing a lot of research concerning doing a podcast, and I need people to understand this. You have a voice. For a long time I hated my voice. I really thought that I really hated my voice until God showed me or let me hear him through my voice. I really thought that I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have anything to contribute to this world. But the more that I talk to people in my personal life, and things like that, the more I realize I do. So I was wondering what my purpose was. I was wondering what it is that I was going to do in my life. And my career choice has been a truck driver. I've been a truck driver for over 21 years, almost 22 years now. But I don't believe I don't believe that's my ending. I don't believe that's my end all be all. I think that's just a stepping stone to get me to this point. And I really do appreciate, being a truck driver, because being a truck driver has allowed me to um oh, there go my comments right there. Okay. Has allowed me to um see the world from a different place. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Well, I see all the comments from Facebook. I don't see the comments from every other platform. I love you too, Pastor Sherry. But anyway, truck driving has really allowed me to expand and grow and to see the world, even if it's just these lower 48 states and Canada and Mexico from a different lens. If I would not have made it, I would probably still be in Columbus, Georgia. I would probably still be back and forth and working dead end jobs. I first got my real job. I was My first real job after high school was working at a brickyard over in Phoenix City, Alabama, Boro Bricks back in the day. And I was a ripe young 18-year-old, and I weighed all of 155 pounds. I was just tall and skinny, 6'3", tall and skinny. And I weighed all of 55 pounds. And I went and I decided I'm going to go get me a real job because I heard they paid real money. They paid good money and things like that. So I decided, let's see what this money looking like. Man, I got there I got there in September of 1996. It was Labor Day weekend, and they were about to be off that Monday. God, when I tell you, I got in there and I did that job for one day. And I was so doggone tired. I told that man, said, "You coming back Monday?" I went to work. I'm thinking I could do it without taking a lunch to work or anything. I had nothing to eat, skinny, out there stacking them doggone bricks. I went to work and I told that man, said, "You coming back? You come back tomorrow?" Because it was like a Thursday or Friday. He's like, "You come back tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And that company had one rule. They said, if you're not there by 7 o'clock, you fired. And I remember I was I went home and I probably went straight to bed. And my mom said, no. I went straight to bed. And I woke up that next morning. That alarm clock went off about 5:15. I looked at the doggone clock and I rolled up and went back to sleep. I said, you can just count me good as fired, because that doggone brickyard wasn't no joke. And so that's why I started that. And that was my introduction to the real world of being a young adult. Then after that, I started working at a cotton mill. Called Fieldcrest Cannon. I thought they made good money too. Man, they put me on a shift that I wouldn't put on nobody. I started working there from 7 p.m., to 7 in the morning. And then I had to be off, had to work every other weekend. That was the worst thing that you could have ever done. However, I did that job for 2 years though. I started that job 2 years. I worked there in the Columbus plant first, and then I transferred to the Phoenix City plant. But I worked there 2 years, and with being there for 2 years, I learned a lot. I grew. I bought my first car. It was a lot. I really enjoyed being there, except on Sundays, because back in the day, the plant was located downtown on the Riverwalk back in my hometown. They used to cruise. Over there, and with the cruising, they would show up and be riding around, and everybody just hanging out, things like that. And so what we used to do is me and two other guys, what was the dude's name? Willie C. and George. We used to do our job, and then we would go up on the roof, and then we would just sneak up on the roof and then look over, and you could see everybody out there hanging out. And here I am at this hot cotton mill with doggone cotton every doggone where, and wishing I was outside, but I decided to take on the responsibility of be grown. And so after that, right before that, actually, when I came back, I forgot part of my story. I moved to Indiana with my dad, and I was a manager at World Foot Locker, and I was a manager in training, up there at World Foot Locker, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that a lot, but I ended up getting homesick and came back home. So that's how I ended up with these two, real jobs. But anyway, fast forward at the age of 20, 21, somewhere in there, I was being grown again, and I was still working at the mill. And so this meal story is very important. I was being grown again. And then I decided one day, it was in December, that I would go to the club. Went to the club, and I saw this girl that kind of sort of knew me, and I kind of sort of knew her. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so we decided to dance, whatever. She was celebrating her birthday, dance, whatever. And um she asked me to go home with her. Now, let me pause for a second. When I said go home with her, we ain't do nothing. We just went home together. This was December. Um, then like the next couple days, we decided to move in together. I was young. I had no sense. I did what I needed to do for the time being. And the crazy part was I didn't even know we lived in the same neighborhood. I lived in the F building. She lived in the D building or something like that in our apartment complex. But anyway, so we decided in January of, I think this was 1999, January 1999, we're going to get married. Didn't know each other, anything like that. And I promise y'all on everything I love. Like I said, I'm letting y'all in my business so you can judge if you want to. Anyway, decide in January 1999 we were going to get married. God almighty, what did I do that for? Not saying she was the worst person, just said she was a good person for me and I want a good person for her. We were married from January 1999 to February 14th, 2002. And being that we stayed married that long, we produced one child, my oldest daughter. She's gorgeous. She looked just like her mama, shaped just like her and all this type of stuff. But I had prayed to God. I wouldn't even say that at the time. I had prayed to God for a daughter. And I told God, and these were my exact words to him, God, I just want a woman in my life that can love me unconditionally. That was my prayer to God, and I ended up with my daughter. Now, fast forward, she in her 20s now, and I know that she loves me, but she got a weird way of showing it sometimes because you know how us dads are. We dads be all over you. You know, we will try to make sure and that we produce the best children we could. Anyway, so my prayer for my children has always been, God, I'm gonna hand them back to you, and you do what you got to. And my lessons to them is always, I am trying to raise you to be good citizens, not just citizens of Georgia, but global citizens. So yeah, that's the worldview I try to take on to my children. Now, don't start no trouble, but always end it the best way you could. But at the end of the day, you do what you got to do. So fast forward, she and we got married in that January, and we probably broke up. Let me see. I think we got married like the end of January. We probably broke up in February. Oh my goodness. It's okay if y'all laugh because it's true. This story is not made up. This story is real. I'm giving you all truth over here. So I don't want nobody to say we didn't know that about you. And I'm a firm believer in telling my own story because that way the enemy can't use it against me. So I tell it myself. I reveal it myself. So we broke up in like February. And so we would go back and forth with one another. Neither one of us knew anything about life. Neither one of us knew how to maintain, anything. She had already had a son. I didn't have any children at the time, but we tried. We did what we could for as long as we could. We just weren't compatible. We just didn't like each other. It just, when it came right down to it, she grew up differently from me, and I, of course, grew up differently from her. And we tried to force squares and circles and triangles and all these things to go together, and they just don't. So here, we did that, like I said, for about February, and then we were off and on. I had no leadership in me. I had nothing that would, make the world believe that I was ready for any of the stuff that I had got myself into. But hey, I did the best that I could. I didn't try the way I could have. In certain things, when you grow up and you don't get lessons on things, like I'm not really one. Back then, I wasn't really one that you could just tell me something, or I could just look at something and really learn a lesson from it. I literally had to go through it and then try to learn the lesson from it. But we did all we could, and then I remember in November of 1999, because I remember we had an argument, and I told her, I was like, she already had her son, and she was like, I was like, I want to have children, right? And so she was like, nah. She said, nah, we got one already. We got one already. Of course, that started another argument. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to live this whole life and not have any children. So that started another argument, and that argument lasted for who knows how long. And so we argued about me having children and, she not wanting more children. And so eventually she ended up coming to the apartment that I had gotten for us, and with a pregnancy test. And she was like, well, you finally got you one now. So it was my baby Destiny. She was she brought the test over and showed me that she was about to be pregnant, about to have my baby. So I don't think we told anybody right away. Maybe we did. I'm not really sure. I know I told my grandma for sure, because she didn't. I remember she told me, because all of her friends, their children had started having children early. So she had, I guess she felt like we were behind, developing late, or whatever the case may be. God rest her soul, but I guess she felt like we were developing late, or whatever the case may be. But she said, I told her, I was like, Grandma, we about to have a baby. And she was like, well, it's about time. Now, mind you, I'm 20. I'm 20 years old. I ain't got no money. I got no plan. I got nothing. I just got I just got a high sex drive, and and a little bit of sense. Okay. So, and my best friend and I, this so funny. Now, Tyrone, you still ain't paid me my money, but whatever. My best friend and I, we made a bet, actually. Mike, don't kill Tyrone, because this is old news. Okay, he's a changed man now. Okay, so him and I had made a bet, $200, of who would fall in love first. Anyway, and so it happened like around about the same time. I ended up getting married. He ended up getting a relationship, and it's whatever. But anyway, we'll deal with that later on. Okay, so we. So we made a bet, and Tyrone still hadn't paid me yet. And so anyway, we made a bet, and then so back to my to the marriage. I don't really, yes, I guess I can call it a marriage. Back to the marriage. We had we did everything. We weren't even together when my little girl was conceived. We would just bump uglies and comb about our business. It's funny now, though, sitting here recalling this story, because it's all true, and I'm cracking myself up. Like, man, and I'm telling this story because I want people to be better. I want people to know that you can have better, and you can be better than I was in this life. Not to disparage anybody, not to take anybody and make them feel like that you can't make it in life, because there's an ending, there's a hooray, a tada to this story, I guess. But anyway, so we did all that. Fast forward, and we broke up, and in 2001, well, my daughter was born in 2000, August 2000, and then she and I, we never got back together. We remained apart from that point. And so, me being who I was at the time, I decided to move on with my life. I moved on with my life, and I ended up being with somebody else during that time, and she ended up getting pregnant as well. So yeah, so let's recount that. I'm married, I have a young child, plus I decided to move on with my life and be with somebody else who had already had a son as well, and she ended up getting pregnant. So I got married January 1999. My ex-wife and I broke up. My first wife and I broke up. Well, yeah, my first wife and I broke up in January, March of 1999. She got pregnant in November of 1999. And by 2000, I was already moved on. I don't know what month, day, or year, but I was moved on. I had moved in with the second woman. Y'all judge me all you want to. But anyway, so she and I were living together. And before my wife at the time had my daughter, we were already living together. So we lived together, and we just did whatever. You know, we were this. It didn't matter to me. So you know, praise God, I've been redeemed, and she has too. That's another day, another story. So and so finally my daughter was born, and so she ended up getting pregnant uh, in 2001. And so no, yeah, 2001. So I finally got a divorce from the first wife in 2000 in on February 14th, 2002. Okay. Fast forward, the other woman is pregnant. I got remarried August 2002, August 24th, my grandmother's birthday. I used to be a mess. Okay, let's call it what it is. So I ended up and I love my children, and I know they know a lot of this story. They may not know everything, and but I love my children. I always respected them, and I hope that I hope they respect me after this. I'm not gonna disparage their mothers at all because I don't play those games. I don't disparage people that I had relationships with. No matter how the relationship ended, you ain't gonna hear me say nothing bad or negative about them because at one point I was attracted to them, and it produced some greatness in me, i.e., my children. Anyway, so fast forward, I got divorced, and I decided to try to do this again, to get married again. So got married again in August of 2002. My son, my oldest son, that came from my own loins, was born in October 2002. So she and I were married in August, and we were married for 9 years, which produced two children. I love my children. They are wonderful people. They are, mine. They look like me. Some of them act like me. They still growing. I don't put too much pressure on them to be who I am or who I would like for them to be. I just want them to be who it is that God called them to be. I pray over each and every one of my children. God, I hand them to you, and you do what you want to with them. And I believe that God orders their steps, so I don't get upset with their path. So, from 2002 until 2011, I was married again. She and I, we had ups and downs. We had ins and outs. We had good seasons. We had bad seasons. But at the end of the day, we still had them two children. Now, mind you, she and I, this second wife and I, we're still cool to this day. Now, she can call me for advice. She could, I'll loan her $5, but I'm gonna need it back. But she's been a great friend after we broke up. So, and she and I pray for her and her new husband, her new family and things like that. And I don't want anyone to think that she and I have any type of beef at all, because we don't. We've always been cool, and we'll always be cool as far as I'm concerned. Um, and so we remained married until, like I said, we had a fight in 2009. We split up in 2009, and I never went back, and she never came back to me. But I remain cordial. I remain respectful. All of these different things up to a certain point. So I'm gonna tell you how she and I broke up. Like I said, we had a fight. We had a fight, and it was a horrible fight too. And when I tell you what this fight was about, you're gonna think I'm acting crazy or being facetious, but I'm really not. One day I had came off the road. I was still a truck driver. I became a truck driver in 2003, and so I had came off the road. I decided that I wanted to spend time with my family. I got saved in 2007, and let me tell y'all something real quick. The road to salvation is bumpy, but everybody has a lot of roads. Okay. Some, if you read the Bible, met Jesus in a tree. Some met him on the Damascus Road. I met Jesus chasing a big booty woman. Okay, let me say that again. I'm pause this music. I met Jesus chasing a big booty woman. Okay, it wasn't my woman. She was a big booty woman though. Anyway, so fast forward. I got saved. It was at one of my best friend's weddings. It was a wedding weekend, and I was upset with him. I was upset with him because he had not made me part of his wedding. Now, Hindsight 2020, I was wrong because I shouldn't have been entitled to what he had going on. That was his business. That was his event. That was, what he had to do. And I apologized to him. Him and I beefed about that for about 5 minutes. And I was probably more angry with him longer than he was with me. But we talked about it and we worked it out. That's what brothers do. We're still good to this day. And I love him with everything. And if you mess with him, his name is Joseph. I'm going to come ride, period. So anyway, it was his wedding and I was in Utah at my side piece's house. I'm telling y'all, I had some stuff. But anyway, I went to his wedding weekend. Came to town to do the what you call that? The the dinner. The shoot, come on, y'all help me out in the comment section. The what you call it dinner? The I don't know, the practice dinner, whatever you call it. Anyway, so I came to downtown for that, and I walked into the church, and the church was, I walked in, and it's like the power of the Holy Spirit just fell on me, just hit me. Right now, I wasn't falling out, rolling around in tongues, or anything like that. I was, I just felt love, right? Excuse me. I just felt the love, and everybody embraced me. They just brought me in to be, one of their own. So I did all that. Not the reception, the other one. It don't matter. Pastor Sherry, I really appreciate it. It was the so they brought me in, and so we sitting there practicing or whatever. Cause I wasn't gonna go until Joe had told me his wife's cousin was gonna be there. Shout out to Toya for getting me saved. Anyway, so I decided to come. Well, anyway, I felt the dinner, and then the next day, that Saturday, rehearsal dinner. There we go. Thank you, Lil Musty. The rehearsal dinner. So that Saturday I went for the wedding or whatever. And it was crazy how this happened, but I started hearing, God in that moment. My best friend, I listened to his vows, and I realized, okay, something's different about this dude. Right? And I grew up with him. So I knew how we rolled. I knew how we acted or whatever case may be. And this was different. This was something that was like out of this world. Okay. So I was like, well, okay. And then we went back to Columbus and had the reception and all of this. And so we went to at the reception, they were like, you should come to church with us tomorrow, or you should go to church tomorrow, something like that. I was like, well, I'm in town, I might as well. So that Sunday I went. Now, mind you, I grew up Baptist. Okay. So that Sunday I went, and I promise y'all, I had never heard the word taught like this. I had never heard God speaking like this a day in my life. And it really piqued something. It really started a fire in me. And so I was like, okay, well, okay. All right, fine. Let's see what this is. And I tell y'all, I was an over-the-road truck driver at the time. I was an over-the-road truck driver, and I would leave and be gone for like 10, 12 days at a time. And I would be far away from home, doing what all I need to do, make my money, whatever the case may be. But it just so happened, like for the next 5 to 6 weeks of my life at this time, I would be in this particular city, be close to this particular city, no more than 50 miles away from this church every week for whatever reason. And I was an owner operator at the time, so I could leave and do what it is I want to do because it was my truck. I could do what I want to. I could have left from California, came and went back if I wanted to, but I didn't. But anyway, because I still had business sense. So every Sunday I would go to this church, and more, God would just start speaking to me more, and I would start feeling his spirit and his presence in my life more and more every Sunday. And so eventually I told my pastor at the time that I wanted to join the church. He was like, man, I ain't even invite people to join. I was like, so I know this is where I belong. And for the next 6.5 years, I was faithful, and that's where I was. So I joined that church. I had my ins and outs in that right there too, in that season as well. But it was always one of those things where I can always come back. You know what I'm saying? I can always get back because I was learning, I was growing, I was being strengthened. It was one of the better times. So anyway, go back to the story of my ex-wife and now. We split up in 2009. I had come off the road. I had let all the side women go. I had let all my issues, I had let everything go, and I was truly delivered. I was healed and set free. Um, I let everything go. And so I decided that I was going to come back and try to get closer to my then wife, because just like the first one, she and I split up too. But we were still married. When I left the road, I would go home to her, but I was doing my own thing on the road. I was being a total jerk. I was cheating. I was doing all these things, and I apologized to her, and I told her straight up she didn't deserve any of that stuff. Yet I did it, so I'm not going to try to make an excuse for it because it happened. So anyway, went through all of that, and fast forward with my life. She and I got into a fight August 15th, 2009. I'll never forget this day, because I came home from work, and I just felt one of my sisters at my church, because she and we would go to two different churches, right? She was saved, but she went to her parents' church, and I went to my own church. We would have, we would, but we would still try to make it work, right? The best that we could. It didn't work that well, but we tried. But anyway, so I came home, and this so happened, I got off work early. It was a Saturday. I used to work all day on Saturday, and I went home, and I got off at noon on that Saturday. So I pretty much had the rest of the day to do what I want to do. And one of the sisters at my church asked if I can come help with the church picnic with the children. I was like, sure, why not? So I rushed home trying to, get ready. Then I walked inside, and I felt the tension in the room, but I didn't pay it any attention because I was so focused trying to do what it is that I wanted to do, or I had already given my word that I would do. So I went and I ran upstairs to get in the shower. I called my wife. I was like, hey, could you give me some? I had talked to my boys coming in. Their cousins were over. And I was like, well, I asked them if they want to go with me. They told me no. Then I talked to the girls on the inside of the house, and it was like, yeah, we're not doing anything. It's just them boys here. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to get ready. Right back downstairs. We're going to go. So I got upstairs. I was getting in the shower, and I asked my ex, I was like, listen, could you get me some clothes for the girls? Because we're about to go. And she was like, them kids ain't going nowhere. I'm like, huh? Anytime I wanted to take my children, we didn't have any issues. And this was weird to me that time. So I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Could you get me some? I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I love you too. Don't worry about it. I was like, I'm still working this thing out, y'all. Anyway, I was like, all right, well, don't worry about it. I'll do it. So I go to get the kids clothes or whatever. And so this is the roughest part of this story, and it's probably the saddest part, but I'm not gonna go into gory details. So I'm getting my daughter ready, my youngest daughter, Sugar Mama, my little sweet baby. I'm getting her ready to go, and we started fighting. How we got to that point doesn't matter, but we started fighting anyway. So I decided I'm gonna leave the house and take my oldest daughter, back to her mom, and I called my best friend Tyrone. And I was like, listen, my ex and I just got into it, and I'm leaving the house, and I know she's going to call the police. So who gave me a thumbs down? So we got into it, and we got into we got into it, or whatever the case may be. And so I told him, just meet me at the house. So he met me at the house or whatever. Got back out. I decided to go and put my to take my phone out my pocket, to take my keys out my pocket, my wallet, everything. Because as I was taking my daughter back to her mom, the police called me and told me, hey, listen, you need to come back to see us, because if not, you going to jail. I was like, bro, I'm not coming back over there. You can forget it. So he said, if you don't come back over here, we're gonna charge you with every person in this house. I was like, all right. So I did what I had to do, and I pulled back up, and I jumped out, and I said, they was like, are you Mr. Williams? I was like, yeah. He said, well, tell me what happened. So I told him what happened. And then next thing they said was turn around, put your hands behind your back. My babies were outside. And that was tough for me because I never wanted, you know, I'm going to get arrested in front of your children. So I got arrested and they charged me with simple battery. Okay. Thank God it wasn't family violence. Cause you know, or I couldn't own those wireless hole punchers. But anyway, so I went through that and I had to, and it wasn't hard, it was tough. I had to go through probation. I had to go through anger management. I wasn't even angry because after everything was said and done, I was going to just go ahead and just let it be what it was. So I was like, okay, whatever. But at that point, we had to break up. I had a stay away order. I couldn't go back anymore. They made it to where like anytime I wanted to go back to her house, I had to take a police escort. And I was like, this is ridiculous, all because of, XYZ, right? So we did that. And then like in like 2010, 2011, something like that, we had two different belief systems, but we decided, we were trying to work it out in our way, and she didn't believe certain things and I didn't believe in certain things. And so we tried therapy, we tried counseling, we tried everything we can try. And eventually, what really ended it for me was when she told somebody that she didn't feel like I was saved. She didn't believe I was saved. That was the end of that relationship for me. And I told her, and I told God, I know that I've gone as far as I can. Because yes, I admit to everything that I did back in the day, but you've seen the changes, you've seen the work, you've seen the stuff that I tried to do to make sure that I could do right by my family going forward. Well, she didn't see it. She didn't see it in herself. Now, whether she saw it or not, thank you, Nancy. Whether she saw it or not, I don't really know. I don't really care at this point. But my heart became cold towards her. And I'm not going to lie. My heart became cold towards her. And I didn't care what happened to her or anything concerning her, except for with my children. That's all I cared about. And it's the honest to God truth. Now, mind you, in 2000, this happened in 2011, no, 2009. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2010 or something like that. Anyway, 2011, I had a car accident. A lady hit my children and I on our way to church. She hit me head on, texting and driving over in Alabama. Now, this was weird, but she never got a ticket, anything like that. She didn't have any car insurance. But either way, I broke my leg and ankle in that accident. When I broke my leg and ankle, it sent me into a deep depression because up to that point in my life, all I had ever known was work. 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 That's all I knew, right? But getting put into a position where I couldn't do my job anymore made it horrible for me because I only wanted to take care of my children. Now, reversed. I'm just telling you this. I was married and divorced, and they'll tell you I was a crappy husband, but ain't nobody gonna beat me at being a dad. And I mean it on everything I stand. Or every word I stand, ain't nobody gonna beat me at being a dad. Because I love my children. And I know the Bible tells me if I don't take care of them, then I'm less than an unbeliever, less than an infidel, as the Bible put it. Well, anyway, but it came to 2011 where we decided, I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I need you to go and sign these papers. She didn't want to sign them because in Georgia at the time, you had to take a class. You had to take that class a parenting class that said that, you guys are going to treat each other well and do what you have to do for the sake of your children. The class was on a Tuesday. She didn't want to take the class because the class was on a Tuesday. She went to church on Tuesday. So I was like, so I told my attorney, he said, look, this is what's going to happen. He was like, you're going to pay me $600. We're going to sue her. She's going to sign them papers and you're going to go on about your business. I was like, okay. But I couldn't allow that to happen. So what I did was I went and told her, I was like, listen, I can't let you hold my life up. So this is what the attorney going to do. She was like, I don't care. I'm not going to sign blah, 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 blah. So fine. So finally, she went and found the class and got the class done on a Thursday. And um, it was, and we finally got divorced in November 2011. But I say this though, in the one, um, on the one hand, I was happy to be free, but on the other hand, I felt a deep depression. Like again, like I really felt like, what's next? Because although I knew the relationship wasn't good for me and good for my children or anything like that, not us together. Now she's a great mom. She sometimes she over mommies, but she's a great mom. Um, she just wasn't good for me, and I wasn't good for her. But it's like somebody told me that you're not really not gonna feel it until you get those papers back in your hand. Because the first time I didn't feel it because I had already had her. I didn't have anything to lined up after her at this point. So it was really me being left to my own devices. Although we had been split up for 2 years, right? So it's like, okay, now what? And it became scary. I had a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend, and and this is one of my friends where she was a real friend. We had been friends for gosh, who knows how many years, but I ended up making her a rebound relationship. Until this day, I regret that every moment of my life because she was one of the best friends I could have ever had. And if I would have had my flesh under control and not dealt with her in that way, I'd probably still have a great friend till this day. We still cool. She still texts me from time to time. I still text her from time to time, but I know that that relationship can never go back to what it was, and I'm okay with it at this point. But yeah. So I lost a real great friend with that. Fast forward, I'm living my life as a single man. Live my life as a single man, single father, or father with children, however you want to deem it. And so living my life that way, had girlfriends, had other relationships, had a baby, all of these different things. But in 2014, God called me. Well, I felt like God called me into ministry. I had been having dreams, and I know with my own personal relationship with Christ, God talks to me or speaks to me through dreams. So I had dreams about being in ministry, teaching the word. I never thought I'd be a preacher or anything like that because that's not my personality. I ain't hooping. I ain't going. I ain't doing none of that foolishness. I'm just gonna give you what God says, and I'm gonna go on about my business. I ain't eating up the microphone. I ain't doing any of that stuff. I don't believe in the theatrics. Hey, but it's for who it's for. It's just not for me. Anyway, so I went through that, and I had a great man of God to recognize my gift in 2014, and I had my first sermon in July of 2014. So yes, I am a licensed minister. You can't see it, but my license is up on that shelf, on this shelf over here. Anyway, I haven't used it. I use it. Now I didn't put my hands to the plow and turn away. It's just I'm taking a break. Okay, there's that. I do go to a local church here where I live. Um, I participate? No, I just go to get ministered to at this point. But the pastor called me out. The pastor called me out one time. He didn't call me out He didn't call me out personally. He called me out in mass. You know, he said because it's a bigger church. You know, he said, he was like, "Hey, don't come here trying to hide from what God got you doing." And I'm like, God Almighty, bro, ain't nobody tell you to do all that. But you know, okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Appreciate you, Pastor Brian. Anyway, so this is, and I left a lot of things out, and I left it out on purpose because you saw I'm already 53 minutes in, and I want people to come back, okay? Because I'm planning on doing this for a long time. So, here I am now in a season where I want to be more vulnerable, be public. I can't hide now. I've been going back and forth with this podcast for I promise you, a good year almost. Look at my auntie. I don't want to do I don't want to be churchy. I don't want that. And I made a promise to God that I would never lie to him. I would never lie on his word. And I would never just take the anointing. I would never take the gift for granted. Okay. But if you talk to me personally on a personal basis, you'll know I'm all teacher. I can't help but teach. And sometimes people are like, well, do you have to say everything? Do you have to announce everything? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I can't help it. Y'all don't believe me. I can't help it sometimes. And now everybody who know me, you know now it's what it is. I can't help it. I try to suck them words back down. They just don't come out. I'm just a natural teacher. It don't matter what it is. And I have beef with people who got beef with me teaching. Anyway. Well, anyway. But it's what it is, okay? I'm funny. I'm entertaining. I love calling people musty. I love giving people nicknames. I'm fierce about my children. I'm fierce about justice because justice is important. I'm fierce about righteousness. There's a difference between right and righteousness. It's three people you're not gonna be able to mess with me. Special needs people, children, and older people. If you got a problem with them, you got a problem with me. I'm 6'3", 270 some pounds, and I don't mind fighting. Just let that be what it is. You can call me King David, whatever. I'm good with this sword, and I'm also good with that wireless hole puncher, if you get what I'm saying. So I don't want nobody thinking that they're gonna get over on me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I can quote scripture, and I can also quote Outcast. I can talk to presidents, and I can also shoot dice on the corner if I need to. I like to call myself a balanced man. I don't run around talking trash with stuff that I can't back up. I am that friend. I am that person who, if I remember, we got kicked out somebody's apartment one time. One time I was young, I told a girl, "Hey, I've been kicked out of better places." That's who I am. Okay. I like funny. I don't like anything sad. I don't like anything sad around me. I don't like things to be in a depressive state. I don't like any of this stuff. I just like for things and the people around me to be joyous and not necessarily happy. Happy is something that people do on the outside, but joy comes from the inside. So that's who I am. I love my parents. They did the best they could up to this point. And the truth is, I've confronted my parents about things that my love for them hadn't changed. A lot of stuff I didn't understand growing up, but I was able to grow up. That's it. I was able to grow up. A lot of people that came up with me didn't make it, and I was able to grow up. God see fit, I'll be 47 years old come August 22nd. Okay. Y'all heard my story. Y'all heard that I didn't have the best life. And I was watching a podcast with my future guest here the other day, and it kind of hit home. And to some, if you put me down on paper, if you put me, all of my stats down on paper, I could be president of the United States. I'm gonna let that marinate for a second. Anyway, but if you put me down on paper and somebody was to read it, it's like, nah, he's not worth it. But if you get to know me, you was like, man, this dude is a vibe, because I'm a good time. Okay. Don't get it twisted. I'm a good time. I'm gonna talk trash. You're gonna have a good time with me. I'm a great dater. You're gonna have some great dates with me. Is that closing that I'm still working on. I'm still working on that closing the deal. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. But anyway, like I said, this is an interactive show. So let me say this. I want people to call. I want people to like. I want people to share. I want people to subscribe. I want people to email, all of these things. So now, okay. Ooh, excuse me. I'm about to put this phone number up here, okay? From what I told y'all, if y'all want to ask me anything, if you want to do anything, you can. But keep it cute and keep it respectful, okay? Okay. You see that phone number right there? 470-615-9822. Now, if you want to call me, you can call me right now. Now, if you don't want to call, that's okay as well. I'm gonna leave it up for a few minutes while I talk and see if I get some calls. Now, be respectful, okay? I'm gonna do everything I can. I'm gonna read some of these comments out here while this see if y'all gonna do this. Okay. Thank you, Pastor Sherry. You got this. Nancy, Tarsha, Shalindia, aka Toot. She said lies because she felt like I was lying about being the most handsome. I am, that ain't no secret. Whatever. It's been proven time and time again. Shout out to Nancy, my Columbus girl, Columbus homie. Nancy's a great person. Okay, I want to have Nancy on too, but she lived in Alaska. That's all I want to talk to Nancy about. Man, y'all made this easy for me, believe it or not. I don't know, Pastor Sherry. I love y'all too, but I don't know about being no big teddy bear. I'm more of a grizzly bear, to be honest with you. Anyway, Tarsha said rehearsal dinner. This is what I was trying to come up with right here. Okay, rehearsal dinner. And I appreciate this, Nancy. I will keep telling my truth. Yes, I could be. Okay, I could be the president, Auntie. Okay. So, what would y'all like to talk about? Give me some comments. Let's let's share, let's subscribe. My first guest and we were supposed to be talking about relationships because she put out this video that I just so happened to find her on Instagram. It was an amazing video. We were supposed to be talking about relationships. Unfortunately, she had a family thing that she needed to do, so we're going to reschedule. But I love relationships, and I'm telling you, I didn't learn about relationships until I was going through my divorce, because I learned the most when I was in God's word. I was like, okay, but the relationship didn't last, but God's word stuck with me, and that's what really matters. And that's what really, did it for me growing up, or finally coming up, becoming a person. God's word. Don't nobody want to call. Okay, now when I take this number down, that's it. Okay. I said I wasn't gonna go too long today because I want to put y'all in my business like that. But I done spilled all my beans. Okay. So if y'all want to email me, if you want to email your questions, you can do that too. So you can email me at the Daryl Show. Any questions, concerns, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, whatever the case may be, you can say what it is you need to say in the comments. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. I just want people to, again, just really, my mission here, let me say this. My mission here is to get people to heal, and to talk to one another, because I believe dialogue is like what's going to take us to the next level. If we don't, we'll always be strangers to one another. And I want to be able to bridge, the relationship between everybody. Yes, if you're in the church, I want to talk to you. Yes, if you're out of church. If you love church and ain't been in a while, I want to talk to you. If you can't stand the church, I'd like to talk to you, because everybody has a story and they have a reason for their story. I don't take people's lives and stories for granted. I don't try to minimize what people went through in order to make myself bigger. I try to be compassionate. And a lot of people think that I don't listen, but I listen to a lot. I listen and I can recall a lot. My short-term memory kind of sucks at times, but I mean, if you give me a springboard, I can remember pretty much anything. So, yeah, I want people to talk. I want people to see this as a safe place where we can come together and just minister to one another. If you're prodigal, come on home. God waiting for you. You can't go too far. You can't outrun God's love, no matter how you try to cut it. Okay. Yes, I'm a minister, but I'm not here to be preachy, anything like that. I'm not here to I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to judge anybody's story, past, whatever the case may be, because I got my own. Okay. And as you can tell, it's rocky. Okay. It's rocky and it's got a lot of twists, it's got a lot of curves, and it's got a lot of bumps. I gained a lot of bruises, but I also gained a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that hopefully can help somebody going forward. Okay. Listen, I really appreciate y'all. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. And hopefully we could do something grand going forward. I hope that I honored God with this today. Hope I honored you guys here today. I'm still working. I'm still learning all of this stuff. Creating content is not easy. So if you have a content creator close to you, please support them. Like, share, subscribe. They need all they can get. Facebook, YouTube, you name it. They need every last one of them. Okay. Listen, it is now 10:05. Okay. I love you guys, and nobody called, and I didn't get no emails yet. So I'm gonna go downstairs to get me something to eat. Okay. It's been real, and I really appreciate you guys that tuned in tonight. This wasn't easy, but I think I felt better as time went forward. Okay. All right. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the Daryl Show, Little Musty. God bless you.